Hey, what's up everybody, Americap here, and today we're going to talk about monopolies. But before we get into that, guys, I have some great news. Just let me, do this real quick. Much better. Yep, that's right, people. I have a brand spanking new avatar, and it's all thanks to TabbyWesa. Tabby is an amazing artist, and she did this for me for very little money, and I couldn't be more grateful. She even went above and beyond and gave me a full gamut of human emotions. I met Tabby when I was helping Dapperton write the newest Libertoons episode. I'll put a link in the description below to her Twitter, as well as the episode we both had our hand in making. So now that I'm done with the intro, let's get into today's topic.
This is a homage beat.
What about monopolies? If you're an ANCAP, you've probably heard this question in some capacity. The concern is that in a land without government to regulate commerce, monopolies will eventually form and take over. It is often even one of the first things people ask when someone mentions anarcho-capitalism. But why? Why is it that amongst a sea of legitimate concerns one might have over limited or non-existent government, would something so nuanced be the first concern? Even I was guilty of it when I was first introduced to the ideology. In fact, it's why I chose this topic. It was one of the first things that led me down the long ideological road to anarcho-capitalism. I think the reason so many are concerned about monopolies in Ancapistan, if you will, is because many of us have had this idea that the state is necessary to protect competition in the free market since we were children. I can't tell you how many times I've seen movies, TV shows, or even books that use a greedy corporate entity as their villain. Movies like Speed Racer even go so far as to make it the goal of the villain to establish a monopoly. So it's no surprise to me that so many are apprehensive to the idea of a world without government that can limit that. So let's break down the subject piece by piece and see if we can answer this question. Let's first start with establishing what a monopoly is. According to the dictionary, a monopoly is the exclusive possession or control of the supply or trade in a commodity or service. In other words, a monopoly is a business that has no competitors and can therefore charge as much as they want for the product they're offering. Now, there are supposedly two types of monopolies. The first is what is known as a legal monopoly, and is created through laws and regulations. In other words, it's created through government. An example of this would be the U.S. Postal Service. Under U.S. law, the Postal Service is the only organization legally allowed to deliver first-class mail. Another example would be so-called utilities. Many cities and states only allow one company to provide services like water, gas, and electricity. The excuse offered is that these are necessary for everyday life. But, in the words of Murray Rothbard, the very term public utility is an absurd one. Every good is useful to the public and almost every good may be considered necessary. Any designation of a few entities as public utilities is completely arbitrary and unjustified. Basically, just about anything can be considered a necessity. And if you really don't believe me, then just look at some of the arguments people have made about Facebook and Twitter. As much as I agree that social media platforms should be neutral and not censor opinions they don't like, they're certainly not public utilities as some people have argued. Another way government creates legal monopolies is through protecting intellectual property, which, let's face it, if someone steals something just by repeating it, they haven't actually violated anyone's private property, because the person it was supposedly stolen from still has it in their possession. So, if I started playing the latest Childish Gambino song right now in an ANCAP society, I wouldn't be sued or fined for doing so because Childish Gambino hasn't lost anything by me simply playing the song in this video. At least not directly, anyway. And any action taken upon me for doing so would be a violation of the NAP. So without government protection of intellectual property, anyone could compete in the marketplace regardless of who came up with the idea first. In doing so, you open up more opportunities for small business to compete. Now, some argue that intellectual property is necessary to encourage innovation. But do you really think that if you took away patents and copyrights, people would suddenly stop making new things? Of course they wouldn't. Mankind has spent a majority of its long history without intellectual property, and look where we are now. Even if, let's say, that a patent or copyright was all that motivated innovation, being the first one to put that innovative product on the marketplace would have a score of benefits. especially if you made the product difficult to duplicate. Not only would your product have that reputation of being the first, but you'd have the advantage of getting a head start. Another argument made for legal monopolies is that they prevent consumer inconvenience because of the construction of duplicative industries. For instance, if another water company wanted to compete in your neighborhood, they'd have to dig up the street to provide their services. But who is the government to decide what is best for the consumer? The second, yet arguably non-existent type of monopoly is that of a natural monopoly. A natural monopoly is one that forms as a result of an economy of scale, which is a proportionate savings in cost gained by an increased level of production. Essentially, the theory is that a single producer will eventually have much lower production costs than any other producer as their output expands. At the time when these franchise monopolies were first being created, most economists knew that large-scale production didn't create monopolies, but was actually a desirable aspect of the competitive process. The fact that a single producer has lower production costs has little to no impact on competition. The enduring and potential competition makes a free market monopoly impossible. This theory isn't even backed by history. There is currently no evidence of a natural monopoly ever occurring. So anyway, hopefully this clears some stuff up about anarcho-capitalism for you. I know this video is very information dense, but thanks for sticking it out till the end. I haven't done a video like this since I first started this channel, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it, and will most likely make more of these videos in the future. You will find the sources I used in the description below, and I highly suggest you check them out, especially the article from the Mises Institute, because it was very integral in making this video. Now, if you're still curious about anarcho-capitalism, be sure to hop on over to the Liberty Network. Their videos have certainly helped me clarify and identify my own beliefs and principles, and I'm sure it'll help you do the same. Writing for Mr. Dapperton and the Coalition of Capitalist Kings was truly an honor, and I hope to work with them more in the future. Once again, I'd like to thank TabbyWesa for this amazing avatar. She did a great job, guys, so go check out her Twitter, ya nut. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. And, until next time, this has been AmeriCap, your friendly neighborhood American capitalist. Goodbye!
This is a homage beat.